Another example, find the general solution to the ODE. So here our ODE is y prime minus tangent of x times y equals 0 again. So right, we want to find the integrating factors. The first thing we want to do, we also want to make sure that this is in the correct format. All right, so the format that we need is y prime plus f of x times y equals g of x. And yeah, that looks like the right format, but there is something to be careful to watch out for. The f of x in this case is not tangent of x, it's actually negative tangent of x. The reason for that is we need the plus on the plus f of x. So really, we could rewrite the equation as y prime plus negative tangent of x times y equals 0. That plus does matter. We want to make sure we have the right sign pop out to get the reverse product rule to work. Right, so now that we've worried about that little pitfall, we're going to compute the integrating factor. Right, so the integrating factor mu of x is equal to e indefinite integral f of x dx, and that's e indefinite integral negative tangent of x dx. And then, like me, you'd probably have to go back and look at some integrals to figure that out. The indefinite integral of negative tangent of x is e to the natural log, the absolute value of cosine of x. And then again, we do have a plus c on the indefinite integral. We can essentially drop that. We're also going to drop the absolute values. So this thing is going to end up being just cosine of x. And that was explained in the last problem why we can do that. So, right, supposedly this is our integrating factor, this cosine of x. Right, so now we're going to take the ODE we have, and we're going to multiply the entire thing. And just rewriting it a little bit before we multiply, we have y prime minus tangent is sine of x over cosine of x times y equals 0. Well, if we multiply everything by cosine, we'll end up with a cosine times y prime. Cosine x, y prime, minus the cosine here will cancel with the integrating factor cosine we're multiplying. So that's just going to end up being minus sine x times y equals 0 times cosine is still 0. And now we can kind of see maybe why this is going to work out. The derivative of cosine is actually negative sine. So that's how this reverse product rule is going to work out. So just double checking that, which you don't have to do every time, you can just trust it, but just double checking. We have cosine of x times y, the whole thing prime. Well, that's going to be the non-derivative of the first one here, cosine x, times the derivative of the second term, so y prime, plus the derivative of the first term, cosine x prime, here times y. All right, well, cosine x times y prime plus, so cosine x actually ends up, right, the derivative is negative sine. So it's actually minus sine x times y, which is exactly what we have over here. So again, we can do essentially the product rule in reverse. So this piece is equal to this one derivative. So it's cosine of x times y prime equals 0. And you can skip a lot of these steps as you do more of these problems, but for your own benefit, I'm trying to do all the steps. So next, right, we have the integrating factor. We multiplied, we were able to collapse it using the product rule in reverse. Now we're going to integrate everything. So we have integral of cosine of x times y, whole thing prime, dx equals integral of 0 dx. All right, and if we do integrate that, the integral, indefinite integral and the derivative essentially cancel, so we have cosine of x times y equals, and we're going to choose to put the constant integration on this side, c. So the last little bit is we're going to actually solve for the function y. So we have cosine of x times y equals constant integration c. So we are just going to divide y of x is equal to constant integration over cosine of x And if you don't like fractions, well, that's the same thing as c times secant of x.